Heroes and Legends and Time. John Johnson rises. It was a spring morning. John Johnson, along with Prinio JS, had enough of JSJ and JS Ping's way of doing things. JSJ wanted to be another clean color. John Johnson wanted to be a leader of law and order and justice. He wanted to bring an end to the chaos and end the ambitions of conquerors and those that only sought power and war for power and not war for peace. So during his tenure in the JS Army, John Johnson had gathered some officers and some troops from across the JS and Gemeta galaxies. It was time to revolt. John Johnson, in a show of gratitude, during the basin of JS Castle, thanked the men and women that joined him. He said, "Brothers and sisters, I thank you all for taking this time to join me. I know that the time is short, but we must bring an end to this chaos. And the current leadership of the JS cannot bring it. I thank you for putting your faith and trust in me. And I vow that I will not let you down. I will not allow a single one of you to fall in this battle. Come," as he turned around and lifted up his sword and pointed to the castle. "Our enemy is the JS. For truth and justice, we will fight to win." And the whole army cheered and stormed the castle. During the bell, JSJ was not surprised by John Johnson's revolt. He was only shocked that it took him so long. And he noted, "John Johnson, I'm very pleased, very impressed. I thought you had lost your touch, but you gathering this army right under me and behind my back. I am greatly pleased. Let me see, however, if you could be able to maintain it." And so J.S. Ping then became the leader and started to lead the forces. John Johnson wanted to capture and subdue the JS family, right? And wanted to do so protecting all the men and women that joined him. Ping and JS stayed back in the main camp to watch the battlefield and to watch the movements. Clarence JS was stunned that his close relative would do such a thing and said, "Prinio, how do you go against our ancestors? What's the meaning of this?" And she was like, "You fool. Of course they are our ancestors. This doesn't mean I don't care for them. It just means that their time is up. This is our time for our generation to take over, to wage our path forward. We can't use past ideals for the future. We only expect past results." And as the battle continued, John JS, the last recent leader of the JS during the time of King Carlo's rise, still wondered where in the universe was King Carlo during the entire battle. And as some of the men of John Johnson went to the uh, the four square triangle, they were trapped, and fire had broken out. John Johnson raced to find the captors who were responsible for this, to rescue his men. He could not afford to lose a single person, because he made a vow to protect them all. After saving them from the captors, J.S. Ping had arrived to challenge and to duel John Johnson. "So, John, you have rebelled against us." "Why am I not surprised?" John Johnson said, J.S. Ping, please, there's no need for this fighting. All I want is to lead the J.S. in a new light. Ah, so my father was indeed right. You will, and you have embraced the J.S. in you. Good. That is the final step necessary. John Johnson looked puzzled and said, final step? And then he was like, nothing. Fight me. And after getting past J.S. Ping's attacks, John Johnson defeated him, forcing him to retreat back to the castle where his father was. Discouraged by this whole situation, Clarence was about to charge their main camp, but John Johnson was able to swiftly stop him before he made to continue to try to sway a mind to join them. After that, Tim of the Gemetta, the allies of the JS, had arrived. He said, so this is where the general serves. The JS had civil war. It seems that JSJ's prize officer and the legendary hero John Johnson has struck out on his own. I must warn my lord. Send a call for reinforcements. I'll deal with this John Johnson myself. Tim, the last of the outcasts, and the officer which General Colin Daniels had recruited after the fall of the Royal Advantage, had appeared. John Johnson went to meet with Tim, as he was greatly impressed. The now middle-aged Tim was the last of the team of outcasts during the legendary fighters era, and had served many sides and witnessed many battles and duels. John Johnson was greatly impressed by Tim and wanted them to be allies. Tim was stunned. He was an enemy, but yet he still acted like a friend. Tim challenged him with his sword, but John Johnson's sword play was much more greater than he, and then Tim was forced to retreat. John Johnson gave it all to his allies to stop the messengers and to block the ancient's way for the rest of the Gemetta to appear. If the Gemetta had appeared, then the battle would be prolonged. But luckily, the reliable men and soldiers of John Johnson was successful in preventing the Gemetta from appearing. JSJ was still greatly surprised and impressed. So your officers are capable, it seems. A leader with a capable and reliable army is indeed a true leader indeed. Come then, if you wish to fight me, John Johnson, can you overcome the chase? The main castle gates had opened. J.S. Ping had returned to stand by his father's side. John Johnson and Premier J.S. began to charge the enemy castle, and they did duel with the J.S. family. But in the end, it was Premier and John Johnson who had won the day. Now, JSJ, JS Ping, JS John, and Clarence were all captured and awaited their fate. Clarence was sure he was going to die. And then John Johnson spared everyone and said, no, you will serve me. JSJ, JS Ping, JS John. And he looked and walked towards John. We share the same name. That's just a coincidence, but I feel a connection with you. You feel disturbed and a sense of passion and vigor against the Clincolo. I myself have a rival Clincolo. His name is Constantine. You and I have this in common. Please, lend me your strength, and together we will end the servers of chaos and bring peace to the universe. John J.S. looked at John Johnson and saw inspiration, and then he wholeheartedly decided to join John Johnson in leading the JS. Then JSJ admitted to his plan and said yes. See John, or I should say JJ for short. Then everyone looked at him in a moment and said, Father. Then Pino shook his head and said, no, that's not for you. That's only for me to say. And then, getting past the awkward moment, JSJ apologized and said, John Johnson. So, I planned all this to happen. I wanted you so long to rebel and revolt, to lead JS. Only you, of everyone who's ever led JS, was the greatest of all. You successfully led a revolt, led an army to rival that of King Cole. You overcame the golden goddess of the handle of law, and fought for the sake of your own people, and defeated the Atlantean primes. There has never been, or will never be, a JS more powerful than you. JS John Johnson was shocked. So you mean to tell me you, Ping, and John, and Clarence all planned and anticipated this? Pring up. And Ping was like, well, I wanted to join you from that time, my dear. But I sensed that JSJ and JS Ping wanted to retire. I wanted to lead, wanted to be led by you. But you had to need the personal want. You had personally needed to want to lead. And Clarence was just shocked. You say, Lord JS, not Ping. What? I don't understand. And JS Ping explained to Clarence. See, we were told you, but someone like you cannot keep your mouth shut. So we have to keep you out of the loop. So John Johnson will not suspect a thing. Clarence hold his head down and shame a little bit, as everyone laughed at that moment. Then John Johnson loosened the bonds of everyone, and said from this day forward, the JS will be led by John Johnson. A new era of peace and justice would be the JS's motto. And then General Colin Daniels had arrived to welcome his new lord to the fold, and vowed that the Gemetta and their allies would work together for John Johnson's ambitions. After the battle, John Johnson then went to Skullostica, where he was reunited with King Brian and Sir Met, as he looked to find Sir Harhost to accompany him as his guest general. John Johnson had not been in Skullostica for so long. Back then, it was a planet. Now it was our own galaxy. So many of the Xavier that he worked so hard with had long died and passed away, for Xavier as itself was no more. John Johnson was sad a little bit, but was proud to see so many people he worked and fought beside and fought against, now allies and friends. He embraced our host, as our host was shocked to see him and pleased that he was finally being able to explore and travel the universe as he once did. As King Brian gave John Johnson their blessing and vowed that they will be allies. John Johnson then, along with Sir Host, went out to the universe to go back to their home galaxy of the JS Galaxy. Our host explained and shared his thoughts that he wanted to side with John Johnson and New Scholastica and to fight John Johnson's battles. John Johnson then warned our host, but no, as much as I respect you and want you permanently at my side, I cannot. Scholastica needs strong leadership like you to fight for it. I know when I was your age, back during my time, I traveled with the authorities back then after the bandits were destroyed and defeated. I traveled the universe with them to get a sense of what is out there. I left Scholastica. I left Dan, the Duke of Orange, who later became King of Scholastica. The Atlanteans came. He fought very bravely against them, but it was not enough. I could not allow a next tragedy like that to hit Scholastica again. Our host, when the chaos is over, I want you to go back to Scholastica and fight their battles. Whether it's their battle or the Scholastica, no matter what it is, I want you to go back to them as soon as I release you. Do you understand that? Our host shook his head reluctantly, but understandably, where John Johnson was coming from. He was speaking from experience. He was speaking from the heart. And he was an inspiration to them all. our host John Johnson had arrived back to the JS Galaxy, where JS Ping and JSJ were greatly impressed. JSJ had claimed it's not even been a month since he became leader. He already made alliances with the Skullostica from the Scholastica. John Johnson is indeed on the road to victory. Maybe we could overcome the Clean Color after all. And so, with that, four galaxies, the JS, the Brit Rakan, the Gemata, and the Row Advantage belong to the JS. Is equal to the four Builderon galaxy that now fall to the Clean Color. And with the allies of the Skullostica and the Clean Color main galaxy, it will make the JS and Clean Color equal the amount of galaxies. But unlike, never mind, it will make them equal. Sooner or later, John Johnson will solidify his power to face evenly the Clean Color. But for now, it is time to rest. The men were tired, and the people needed to rebuild, especially the captured galaxies of the Brit and the Road Advantage. Those people needed inspiration. Those people needed help. And so, for now, their resources will be used to help the people.